I'm Sheila Peterson. I'm divorced. I have 2 children and 3 grandchildren and 1 great-grandchild on the way. Born and bred in Croydon and proud of it. Born in Canterbury Road in 1947. And I've lived in Croydon in various places. I've lived in Streatham, I've lived in Wellesley Road. I now live in Addiscombe, but I've also lived in Portsmouth, Plymouth and Yorkshire when my ex-husband was in the Navy and we travelled, but I came back home. I missed Croydon. So then I've worked in Alders. Most of my working life was spent in care. I started off being a domestic in a old people's home and worked my way up and became an assistant residential manager in a home for the elderly, which I thoroughly enjoyed.
Sheila, how did you obtain your position at Alders?
Do you know, I was thinking that I really can't remember. I think it must have been through a job agency at the time, because I had a job previously which I didn't like, and I can remember Mum dragging me up to a card factory, and I didn't want to do that. So I think that's where I got it from, yeah. Well, I got a job on the knitting wall, and at that time I used to do a lot of knitting, and I think it was just the place itself. It was such a lovely big place, and a lot going on. It was really interesting. I had really good colleagues to work with. They were all elderly. Well, they seemed elderly to me when I was only 16. We had a manager, and then you had 3 assistants. You had a supervisor and 2 other ones, and then me. And they always got priority when customers came in. The supervisor did the first one, and I got the last if we got any more than 4. But they were good because we used to get commission. And sometimes if we hadn't been very busy, they would give me the customer and I'd get the commission on it. So I had a good team. They looked after me, and quite often they would, if they had a big sale, they would just say to me, you go and ring it up. So I got the commission on it.
Can you explain the atmosphere on the shop floor?
It was good. We started at 9 and I think it was 5:30. Half day Wednesdays, full day Saturday, Sundays off. And well, we used to go in the back entrance, clock in. There was an old clocking in machine there. We used to leave our coats somewhere and our handbags, and then just go downstairs and work on the floor. Sometimes I would have to fill up the racks that had the wool in, or the drawers, and just to generally have a tidy up. We used to get a 15-minute break in the morning, our lunchtime, which we had a canteen, and you could get a lunch for 1 and 6. Then 15 minutes in the afternoon. You spent all the day on your department. You weren't allowed to get off and wander around. You were there to work, and that's what you did. Even if you didn't have any customers, there was always bits to do, tidying up, filling up, talking to customers, helping them out, finding patterns and things. And then just clock out on the way home, get your bag searched. They used to have security there just to make sure. And if you bought anything in the shop, you had to pick it up on the way out as well from security. But that was it, really.
Can you describe the goods a little bit you had in your department?
We had balls and balls of wool, envelopes or brochures full of patterns, all different ones, all marked, children, adults, miscellaneous, things like that. We also did knitting needles, we did sewing bags, we did stuffed animals that were pyjama cases. I don't know why we had them, but we did. And that was about it really, just general things that people wanted for knitting.
So describe your relationship with your colleagues and management.
Oh, they were brilliant, really were. I had a lovely manager, and she used to look after me. I think I said they used to have what they call a birthday celebration, and we never had a choice. They just put our names in, and we were chosen to be flower girls for the day. You got your hair done if you needed and your makeup, and you were dressed in costume. I was a Welsh girl, though the children thought I was a witch. And you just went round with these little bouquets, little sprigs, and giving them to customers, and the customers would say, oh, no, thank you, don't want one. And used to say, it's to celebrate ALLDERS' birthday, they're free. So we got rid of them. And one thing I do remember about my buyer, they did a draw on our clocking in numbers for a trip to Amsterdam, I think it was, and my ticket came up, and I went in the morning, and my manager come out, my buyer come out, all excited, you've won a trip to Amsterdam. You know, me being a 17-year-old, I'm not going, I don't know anybody. So she said, yes, you're going. I said, no, I'm not. Half hour later, she come back. She said, I've just talked to the other buyers whose juniors have been picked. We've arranged for you all to have your coffee break together so you can sit up in the canteen, get to know each other and go on the trip, which I thought was a lovely thing to do for a 17-year-old at the time. Yeah, and I say I got on well with the others as well. They were all very supportive, looked after me and helped me out. No, it's training on the job. You were juniors, you were there to learn the job as you went along. Yeah. I say they taught you everything. I mean, I knew quite a bit about knitting wools, the different thicknesses and that, because I used to knit, my mum used to knit. But no, it's just training on the job. But I left, yeah, I wanted the weekends off, being a teenager, you know. I mean, many a time I went all night skating on a Friday night, skating from 12 midnight till 7 in the morning, and then going straight into work and do a 9 till 5 or 9 till 6. But yeah, I wanted just a bit of a change, I think. So so I applied for the GPO, but that didn't last long. During my training, it was up in London, I got bronchitis I got, and it took me a long time to get over it, and I really didn't think I wanted to do the journey up to London every day, so I got a job in a crematorium, which was very interesting. I probably enjoyed that as well, being my wicked sense of humour. So yeah, I did that till I got married. The atmosphere was always good. I mean, everybody spoke to everybody in the canteen. You got to know people on your lunch break. And I made some very good friends with the girls on the perfumery department, and I stayed friends with them for a long time after we all left work, yeah.
So did you have any out-of-hours activities?
No, only the trip we got to Amsterdam, which I won. And I say that was good, because there was about, I think it was about 8 of us, and we had, one of the men was quite elderly, and he took care of us 3 juniors, and made sure that we were safe on the boat and everything was all right. You know, he kept checking up on us, and yeah, that was the only one that I did. I don't know whether they did it any other years after that. I don't know.
How do you feel about the end of ALLDERS?
Oh, I think it's...
Demise of ALLDERS?
I think it's terrible. I really do. It's awful to see it as it is now. I don't know why they can't just do something with it. It was a lovely place to work. It really was. You know, they had some lovely stuff in there.
So what would you personally like to see replace ALLDERS? What would be your ideal?
I'd open it up as it was. You've got nowhere in Croydon when you can buy curtain materials, netting, haberdashery, there's nowhere like that at all. Nowhere to buy decent carpets, no toy shop. We haven't got a toy shop in Croydon now. Got nothing. There's so much they could put into that shop. Oh, everywhere, all the shops, because we had the high street then, now we don't. We had buses running along the high street, so it was always packed along there. All the shops, you had Debenhams and Kennards, all lit up, all the shops down, because I used to walk from Alders down to West Croydon to get my bus home, always crowded. We had a cinema down there as well. It was lovely.
You mentioned you were a flower girl. What is a flower girl?
That was when they did on the birthday celebrations. They dressed us all up. I mean, I was Welsh. I think they did a Scottish theme and somebody dressed up as British, you know, and they just gave you a tray with little sprigs of flowers in, which you just gave around to customers to celebrate the birthday. I think that was sort of the day that Alders was open, I suppose.
But you got this special trip to
Yes.
Holland, which was quite unusual at the time, isn't it?
Yes. I was very surprised to get that. I didn't even know they were doing it. I didn't know that they did a draw at the end of the day and drew out clocking in numbers to see who was going, so I was very lucky. I think that was the first time I'd been abroad.
And what was your experience? Describe a bit.
Oh, it was good. Well, like everything that happens with me, it's a bit of a disaster, because we went by coach to Southampton, and when we got there, the ship wasn't ready to sail, so they put us up in a hotel for the night. The next day we boarded, and instead of going straight to Amsterdam, we had to stop off at France. So by the time we got to Amsterdam, instead of having a day there, we ended up with an hour. Just time to go around the shopping centre. We went out on one ship, which an old type, but I always remember we came back on the SS Rotterdam, which was lovely. Us girls all had a cabin on our own, and the chap come in the morning and said, would we like a coffee, and brought a coffee in. So, no, that was good. Oh, I mean, I think we got £50 spending money as well. Well, we should have gone for a day, but because we'd been delayed, we only spent an hour there, which was a shame. Just got time to go off and have a look round the nearest place and buy a couple of souvenirs and then come home.
Looking at Alders from today, your work, it was your first work, isn't it? How do you remember this? What is your feeling about it?
No, I enjoyed it. I say the atmosphere was good. I made some good friends. I worked with good people, and they looked after us as juniors. They looked after us very well.
And did you find it quite strict?
Yes, it was. I say it was always good morning, sir. Good morning, madam. Thank you, madam. Thank you, sir. Can I help you, madam? Yeah.
Were they quite? Was a protocol? Did you have to adhere strictly to lunch times, attendance?
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You had to be, because you clocked in, so they knew if you were late. Yeah, you knew what time you had to go, and you get your 15 minutes, which wasn't long by the time you'd worked your way up the escalators to the 3rd floor to where the canteen was, and then queued and then had your drink.
Did you wear a uniform?
Did we wear a uniform? I don't think I did. No, I don't think we had a uniform. The girls on the perfumery did. They wore overalls, but no, we didn't. Just wore, I think it was skirt and blouse, I think, just clean and tidy.
Sheila, we've really enjoyed you sharing your memories of Alders with us. It's given us
Oh,
insight
thank you.
into it all,
Thank you.
and it's been very enjoyable. I would like to thank you for coming in here today.
Thank you very much for having me. I've enjoyed it. I've been racking my brains what I could think about, but no, I've enjoyed it. I'm glad you're doing this.